Hello and welcome to my latest video, which is Bruce Lee. Bruce Lee was released in 1985, published by US Gold Limited, and according to Spectrum Computing was created by Ocean Software, LT Software and F. David Thorpe. The authors were Ron J. Fortier and Kelly Day. The original price was $7.95, which back in 1985 was quite steep for a 48k game. The game was a crash smash, receiving 91% in crash. One interesting thing about the crash review is in the comments at the end where it says screens, it just says quite a lot. The enemies in the game are a ninja and the green Yamo, but of course this is a Spectrum game and to avoid colour clash the green Yamo is white. This is quite a unique game. Not just for the Spectrum, but I think any 8-bit computer. It's kind of a platformer, but a fighting platformer. However, having said that, it's not anywhere near as sophisticated as other fighting games of the time. There's only 2 moves that you can do. One's a flying kick, which is pretty much the only move I ever use, and the other is a punch, which isn't really that effective. The punch and the flying kick both use the same fire key, and the only real difference between them is that if you're moving you do a kick, and if you're standing still you do a punch. Now this game has a reputation for being really easy. Loads of people have said that it's really easy and you can complete it every single time, no problem. When I started playing this and practicing it to do this walkthrough, I didn't really find that. Now maybe it's because I'm 37 years older than I was when I first played this game, but it was a bit tricky. There were some quite tricky bits in it, especially some of the later on platforming sections. In this room that I'm in now on the walkthrough is also a really tricky one. There are quite a few jumps in this room where you've got to time them right, otherwise you'll be killed by those, they're not really baddies, obstacles that fly across the screen. The good thing is that those obstacles also kill the baddies as well. Well, sometimes one's just gone through the green Yama's head, but not that time. I must admit, when I was playing this game, one of the things I thought or found was that the best tactic seemed to be to almost ignore the enemies unless you really couldn't. Now there is a really good kind of mod for this game done by Turvey called BruceLee RX. The main difference, in fact really the only difference between that mod and the original game is the graphics. Green Yamo is green. The ninja looks absolutely superb. And if you stick with the video we might take a little look at it later. Now I do really like this game. Going back and playing it again, probably 35 or at least 20 years since I'd played it before. I really enjoyed getting back into it and playing it. One of the things I should mention that you've just seen on the screen now are those kind of spray things that spray from the floor and kill you. In the original game they are really difficult to see. One of the things I really like about them though is they will kill the enemies off before they get to you sometimes, which is very useful. Probably one of the reasons why the game seems to be so easy. Some of these platforming jumping sections, this room that we're in particular, can be really difficult. Especially when I was a kid, I used to absolutely detest running off the end of a platform and jumping. And the thing that where you lie down when you press down, sometimes that can be to your disadvantage. That one there where you're running away from, I think that's a little mouse on the ground. There's a little mouse running after you, and if he clips Bruce Lee's heels he will kill him instantly. I actually discovered something new in this room that you're just going to see now. If you drop down there you land on the edge of that platform. I didn't know that as a kid. I used to try and jump off and jump over, avoiding the obstacle that comes across the gap, and land on the other side. I always thought that's how you had to do it. When I discovered that you could drop down and land on the very edge of the opposite platform, that was a really big help. In this section here, we're probably about halfway through the game here. Of course, as in keeping with all of Bruce Lee's films, the main thing that you need to do is go around and collect a load of lanterns. I'm sure Bruce Lee was running around collecting lanterns in Game of Death and Enter the Dragon. This piece here where you come back to the store, it's always kind of interesting. I don't know why they did this. I do like the little animation on the, don't know what it is, some kind of hippo or water buffalo, where his mouth moves when you come into that room that second time. This is another one of those platforming sections where you've got to run across the platforms as they appear and disappear. Getting more lanterns. Now this next section, there's a place where you can get extra lives. And I know, especially when I was a kid, we just used to go round and round and round this course and get as many extra lives as we possibly could. Going back to the Crash review, there's a really good comment, which is, I loved the way that you actually make physical contact with your enemy, e.g. a punch to the nose or a kick to the ribs, instead of just zapping them with a photon laser or phaser. I guess that shows that back in 1985, most games actually, you'd just be zapping something with a photon laser phaser. Another comment from Crash is, although Bruce Lee does not have the complexity or size of Jet Set Willy. And I wholeheartedly agree with that. Yet another one of the critics said, there's something about this game that makes you come back for more. And that's true as well. I think this really is one of those games that's greater than the sum of its parts. If it was just, say, a single screen beat 'em up, where you were just against the ninja and the green Yamo, that wouldn't be as much fun. There's an extra life. But if they weren't there, and it was just a simple platformer where Bruce Lee had to go and collect lanterns, then that wouldn't be as much fun either. We are coming up to towards the end of the game now. And it does start to get a bit more tricky. I remember bits like this room, just kind of learning that you might as well leave that lantern till last. Those three kind of, I don't know, teleports or whatever they are that you can end up going through will teleport you somewhere else, and this one is the one where you can keep looping round and round to get extra lives again. If you go to the second then go back to the first, you get another extra life. Although it is quite tricky to get to the extra life and back again without losing a life. It's a nice little tricky where if you stand in the right place, the ninja will stop as he runs over the spray from the ground and kill himself. Now I don't know if that was how the game was designed or it was just an accident of the game mechanic itself. And when you go into this last one, you're basically into the end of the game. It tempts you to say, look, you could have had another extra life if you wanted one. Now this room is really difficult. You've got to time your moves just right, particularly on the last two platforms. Because you've got to keep moving on these, and if you don't drop down at the right place, you'll end up getting eaten by a mouse. There's a little trick in this room that when you get to the top, you want to wait for the green Yamo to get up there, otherwise he gets trapped in the middle platform and you don't want him there because you've got to go back up. So I'll just wait there, wait until the Yamo comes up and let him follow me round. That makes the game a lot easier doing that this screen, otherwise you'd have to fight him on this platform here and that's really difficult. And this is probably my, I don't know if it's my least favourite or my most favourite. It's quite tricky. One of those tricky rooms in the game. Especially these bits coming up where you've got to kind of Get yourself across these gaps before you get caught by the moving obstacle again. Then up to the top, it's another killer mouse. And this last one is the hardest of the lot. And if you die in this room, and I think I do, then you start all the way back from the start. Which is most unfortunate. No, move down, he's going to get your head. At times, the collision detection in this game can be a little bit ropey. You don't really want to take any risks. Just move across a bit, wait until the obstacle goes. And beg it. I'd say his arms must get really tired, but this is Bruce Lee. Bruce Lee could fight all day and night without getting tired, couldn't he? So we're almost at the last screen now, where you come up against the evil wizard himself. And I must admit, the last screen is a bit easy and a bit of a letdown, although I have died on the last screen more than once. I think the wizard, which we'll see in a minute, kind of looks like a cross between Buddha and the evil big head thing, priest's head in Jet Set Willy. There you go, that's the end of the game. Completed it. It's the congratulations screen. And after that, I'll tell you what, let's watch it again, a little bit faster and a little bit different.